Everybody, happy new year. Hope everybody's able to hear me okay. Again, happy new year, and thank you for joining me today on this live stream, impromptu again. I've got some very big news for you. The day that a lot of people said would probably never come has finally arrived. As of yesterday, January 2nd, 2026, Elections Alberta has officially approved and issued the petition for an Alberta referendum on independence and complete separation from Canada. This is real now. This is completely official, and it means Alberta's autonomy and sovereignty are finally moving forward. The Alberta Prosperity Project is now going full speed ahead with the signature collection drive. So stick with me as I share all the details I have so far. I know that many of you have been asking me, like, hey, PJ, where can I go to sign? What can I do? What are the things that we could possibly do to help the cause? And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I figured I would make a live video where I can answer your questions. I can, try to shed some light on whatever doubts you may have. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about. Today. It's been a crazy start to 2026. Today has been a very exciting day in more ways than one. We're going to talk about all of that today. It's the day for freedom. We're going to be talking about all of it. So, first of all, many of you have asked, how can I volunteer? How can I help the cause for Alberta independence? How can I help the cause for the Republic of Alberta? For one, today I have the official link from the Alberta Prosperity Project, which is the organization that is spearheading this effort, not-for-profit organization, leading the effort to get Alberta to become independent from Canada. The link is in the description. I pinned it. I have it right in the description. I will also share it with you guys on the chat. I'm going to go ahead and do that right away. You guys can save it. This is right here. This is the official sign up page for canvassing, for you to become a volunteer signature collector. This is how you can become a part of history. We are literally creating a country, the newest nation, the Republic of Alberta. We're taking the first official step, and that right there, you can become a part of history when your grandchildren 30 years from now, or those of you who already have it 10 years from now, ask you, what were you doing on that day? You can say, hey, I was a part of it. I was a canvasser. I collected signature. So we're going to be answering the questions that many of you have commented on the channel in regards to where can I go to sign? When will the canvassers, when will the signature collectors be in my neighborhood, in my town, in my city? I don't have all the answers because this was just approved yesterday, but I do have some answers, and I do have some tools that you and I can both use to get as much information as possible when it comes to advancing the cause for freedom and independence here in Alberta and across North America. So again, this is all over the news. The government paid media, they have to, let me show you guys here. They're having to cover it. They're forced to cover it. They're basically forced to cover it, even though I'm sure they hate it. They're having to cover it because it is now official. It is not speculation. It is not wishful thinking. It has now been officially approved by the government, the petition to start collecting signatures right away. So this is a headline from CTV News. It is one of those government-paid media outlets here in Canada, propaganda machines. Alberta Prosperity Project gets all clear to collect separation petition signatures. And this article was out as of yesterday, January the 2nd. I'm sure they hate it to have to write it, but they had to write it. And here goes the article. The group petitioning for a referendum question on Alberta separation can begin collecting signatures as early as Saturday, Elections Alberta says. So today they can begin collecting signatures because they've finally issued the official petition, the actual legal paperwork that can be signed, putting your name, first name, last name, phone number, address, etc. The province's chief electoral officer has issued petition signature sheets to the Alberta Prosperity Project, a group seeking an answer to the question of whether the province should leave Canada to become an independent state. The group now has until May the 2nd to collect 177,732 signatures, or 10% of the total number of votes cast in the 2023 provincial election. The project's communication team said it planned to start collecting between January 5th and January 10th, given Elections Alberta time to process the registration of their canvassers. So there you go. Here's the answer. Here's the first answer to the question, because one of the questions that was asked multiple times was, when can I sign? When will the signature drive begin? So starting between January 5th and 10th, which is, try to give time to Elections Alberta to register all the official signature collectors. There, according to the Alberta Prosperity Project, there have been a lot of volunteers signing up. The more the merrier. If we can have an army of 100,000 volunteers, that is amazing news. The more because volunteers are not only signature collectors, but they themselves are people who are going to almost certainly sign yes, because if you're out there collecting signatures for the yes side, you're absolutely going to sign yes, and presumably their families, right? Whoever else, say you're a husband who's out there collecting signatures for the yes side for an independent Alberta, your wife is probably going to sign yes as well, and maybe your in-laws and so on and so forth. So starting January 5th, that's the date to keep an eye on, when signature collection is probably going to begin officially, and you're going to see signature collectors in your neighborhood. Quote, while we will not commence actual signature gathering on January 3rd, we are fully prepared to ramp up immediately following certification, read a press release on Friday. Quote, our methods will include door-to-door canvassing by thousands of dedicated volunteers across every community in Alberta, town hall meetings and public events to engage supporters. And when they say thousands, they're not exaggerating. It's thousands. Sometimes I go to a small town to partake in a town hall, and there's 100 people, right? 100 attendees. And then there'll be 120 total because there's 20 volunteers. 20%, well, would that be around 20% is volunteers, and then the other 100. And I'm talking in a town of like 300 people. Tiny, small town Alberta, there'll be a third of the population of that town present at a town hall, and then 20% is volunteers. So out of that 100, let's say there's 120, 30 are volunteers, 25 are volunteers, 20%. There's a lot of people volunteering for the Alberta Prosperity Project, which speaks to the commitment and the enthusiasm behind this cause. It is really heartwarming to see. The petition, dubbed a referendum related to Alberta independence, asks, do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be a part of Canada to become an independent state? State meaning nation, country in this particular context. The question is a slightly different version of a previous petition asking if the province should become a sovereign country, which was subject to a review of its constitutionality in court. So they had a little bit of a situation going on because the question wasn't clear, because they said country, not sovereign state, et cetera, et cetera. In reality, it was an activist judge, a liberal judge who wanted to, squash it. He wanted to quash our efforts, and it didn't pan out for him. We are still going to move forward with Alberta independence. Here's another headline from another mainstream media outlet, another government-paid propaganda machine, having to report on this because it is too big to ignore at this time. So this is global news, or globalist news, like I like to call them. Alberta separatist group gets green light to collect referendum signatures by the Canadian press. Beautiful Alberta flag right there. Alberta's election agency has fired the starter's pistol on the race to collect enough names for a referendum on the province quitting Canada. I don't think Alberta quit Canada. I think it's the other way around. Canada quit Alberta, but that's a conversation for another day. Elections Alberta announced Friday that Mitch Sylvester, that's the CEO of the Alberta Prosperity Project, and the APP have from Saturday until May the 2nd to collect just under 178,000 signatures to qualify. Quote, Citizens Initiative Petition signature sheets have been issued, Elections Alberta said in a statement. The article continues. Elections Alberta had already announced before Christmas that it had approved the referendum question, but it said that the group could not collect signatures until they have finalized details, including hiring a chief financial officer, which they've now done. They've now completed that. The question seeks a yes or no answer to the question. Do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be a part of Canada to become an independent state? So this is basically the same article that we just read, basically explaining what's going on so far, what's going to be happening, what you can expect. So amazing, amazing news. Just a second here, guys. It's live. Bit dry here. So that's what's going on so far. We're going to be looking at signature collection starting this coming week. Today is January the 3rd, Saturday, January 3rd. So I'm assuming starting Monday is when you're going to see volunteers all over Alberta collecting signatures. And here's the official tweet from Elections Alberta. This is the government organization right here. Elections Alberta, news release, issues the Citizen Initiative petition for the constitutional, emphasis on the word constitutional, because there was another petition by a leftist socialist group. It was a policy question. This one is constitutional, meaning that it's a change to the Constitution of Canada to allow Alberta to exit and become an independent country. Anyway, for the constitutional referendum proposal, quote, a referendum relating to Alberta independence, the proponent may begin collecting signatures. And this is the official page, the official Twitter page from Elections Alberta. And I put a tweet in that I couldn't help myself. I had to jump in and I went, let's freaking go with the Alberta flag. Let's freaking go. I'm excited. I'm pumped for this, honestly. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at this time. It's official. And like I said, many of you have been asking, what can I do? Where can I go? What things can I possibly do to participate, to possibly advance the cause? And I'm going to give you more details in this live stream here. So let's bring this over. Okay, so here's the website that you're going to want to visit as much as possible to stay up to date. This is albertaprosperityproject.com. This is the official website for the not-for-profit organization leading the fight to become an independent country. Hashtag for the love of Alberta. So here, the first thing that you're going to see is the question. This is the official question. Do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be a part of Canada to become an independent state? And then right underneath, you'll have the option to submit your pledge to vote for an independent Alberta. Now, I know that many of you have signed the pledge. Many of you have put your information in there. That is not the official petition. That is just a pledge. And I'll explain. The official petition is a government document. You have to sign it physically with a pen and paper. And you have to provide your address because they need to confirm that you're a resident of Alberta. So this is only for Albertans. This is only for residents of Alberta. I will talk about what other people who live outside of Alberta can do to assist, besides obviously sharing and liking videos like this, spreading the word, and trying to spread awareness. But this is really a fight for Albertans. People who live in this province are the ones that are going to be actually signing on the petition to get that referendum. So this right here, if you haven't done it, it's good that you do it. And why? Because you're letting the APP know that you can be contacted. When volunteers are already out there, they'll know, like, hey, there's this person out there, and they've already said that they're interested in signing yes. You know, you provide your address, your phone number, they can shoot you a quick text. Hey, we're in your neighborhood today. Would you like to sign? You know, or hey, we're gonna be at a specific event in your neighborhood. Would you like to come in and sign? That's why that's important. If you'd like to be contacted, if you'd like to be kept on the loop, kept informed, you would want to submit a pledge to sign yes on Alberta for Alberta independence. Then we have volunteering right here at the very top of the website. Again, this is the Alberta Prosperity Project.com, albertaprosperityproject.com. At the very top right there, you got the volunteer option. You also have contact. If you have any questions, you can always click on contact right here. And this is to volunteer. I have also, like I said to you guys previously, I have left the canvasser form, the website to sign up to become a volunteer canvasser. I left it on the description of this video. So yeah, you click on here and you can volunteer, not just for canvassing, but you can volunteer for events in your neighborhood and so on and so forth. And this is the volunteer form. This right here is the events page. You find it at the top. You go to events. You can also put it on Google, Alberta Prosperity Project, and it'll give you an option to go to events. This is all the town halls and the Alberta Prosperity Project. These people are tireless, man. They're tireless. They've actually ramped up. You think given that they toured the entire province over the summer, the spring, fall, and winter, they're now doubling down, which is as it should be. This is too big a goal. This is too big of an endeavor to not live at all on the line, to not work twice as hard. And these are people, again, the leadership of the Alberta Prosperity Project. They all have jobs. You got a doctor, Dr. Dennis Marjorie, literally a medical doctor. You got Mitch Sylvester, longtime entrepreneur. I think he had a firearms store, sports store. Longtime entrepreneur out in Bonneville, Alberta. You have Jeffrey Rath, who is a lawyer, has his own law firm, and so on and so forth. So these are people who have jobs. These are people who are out there working hard, working a job, and they're still finding the time to try to get Alberta to become free from the socialist regime that Canada has become. Anyway, so this is the events. You have upcoming dates. So as soon as January 6th, I think that's Tuesday, in Mountain View, I believe that's in southern Alberta, Mountain View. And if you want to see the entire details, you just click on more info right here. But what's crazy is that it's not just on the same date. They're having 3 different town halls. This is what I mean. They're ramping it up. Normally they would do 1 a day, maybe 2 in a day. They're doing 3 on this particular day, on the 6th. So in Lacombe, which is, I believe, just north of Red Deer. So those of you in the Red Deer area, Lacombe on the 6th at 7 p.m., Water Valley, and in Mountain View, you can click here, for example, more info. It'll give you a page that you can share with people. You can literally screenshot it. It gives you all the details. If you want to attend, you have a family member or a friend or a coworker who you want to attend with you, you can send them this right here. These are the pictures that I share on my community tab on my post. It gives you a QR code, which you can scan with your phone, and it'll also give you all the details. You got the address, the exact address, location, the date and time, and it tells you what they're going to be talking about: parental rights, firearms rights, censorship, digital currency, all the things that Canada has been going into, right? Digital ID and all that BS. So again, there's so many. If they're not in your community today, you got to keep an eye on the events tab, because they're going to be in your community at some point. Here's Fort McMurray, which is in northern Alberta. Edmonton, for those of you in the Edmonton area, here's training for signature collectors on January 8th. They're going to be training people in person, where you can sign up to be a volunteer, and you can get some training. This is how you do it. This is what you want to ask people. This is where you want to go. These are the 20 doors you're going to knock, so on and so forth. And then go into Fort McMurray. And this is just page one. It keeps going. It continues. These people are working hard as hell. This is Red Deer proper. They're going to Lacombe the week prior, but they're also going to Red Deer, James River, Fox Creek, Grand Prairie, which is in northwestern Alberta, Beaver Lodge, close to the British Columbia border, Fort Saskatchewan, just north of Edmonton, Edson, west of Edmonton, Calgary. This is going to be a big event right here. They are renting the BMO Center, and they're estimating a 6,000 people attendance. They're probably going to collect 10,000 signatures just on that day. Probably 10,000 signatures just on this day. I'm excited about this one. I don't know if I'll be on the road. I work transportation, like I've told you guys before, so I'm not sure when I'll be available, but I definitely want to be on this one. I want to go to the Calgary one because it's going to be a really big one, and I would love to meet as many of you as possible. So yeah, so go to the Alberta Prosperity Project.com. There's also a newsletter where they're basically letting you know what's happening. They're going to be releasing new information, and that is how you stay up to date as to what's going on with the signature collection. There's going to be a lot happening all at once because now it's official. There's going to be people literally collecting signatures for this referendum now. So it's going to be busy. People are going to be on the road. People are going to be working. So if you want to stay informed, this is where to go. And this is the page that I have pinned or that I have placed on my description here. This is how you volunteer to become a signature collector. Again, the actual link to it is in the description below. You can also donate if you're not able to donate your time and you want to pitch in $5, $10, $2, whatever the minimum is. You can do that as well and help the cause that way. This is, again, a not-for-profit. It doesn't go to PJ the Belt. It doesn't go to me. It goes to a not-for-profit organization that is pushing for Alberta to become an independent nation. You got to remember, they're holding 3-4 town halls. They're renting out these locations. These people are moving around. There's expenses. So they're a not-for-profit, right? They're not doing this for profit. They're doing this for the love of Alberta. So yeah, you go down here, you click on it, and it'll ask you to fill out a form. First name, last name, email, mobile phone, address, so that they know where, like what part. Say you're in Edmonton, say you're in Calgary, then they'll know, okay, we can get this person to participate in signature collection in this particular neighborhood because this is close to them, right? And so on and so forth. So this is what is happening in Alberta when it comes to the independence movement. It is officially moving forward. This is not wishful thinking. This is not speculation. This is not just people who have, who are hoping here. This is actually moving forward, and it's a constitutional petition, meaning that it's the real deal. If enough Albertans, if a majority of Albertans vote yes, you are witnessing the birth of the newest nation in North America. APP also has an information section. My wife just brought to my attention here. Frequently asked questions. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, they have a frequently asked questions section here as well. FAQs right here. For those of you who are like, my pension, what happens to it? Because I know that some of you are pensioners, and you may be wondering, like, what happens to it? Do I lose it? They've debunked that. You don't lose your pension. That's an entitlement. You get to keep it, and it's all right here. Is the APP a political party, not-for-profit, or something else? The APP is a not-for-profit educational project. So again, like I said to you guys earlier, they're a not-for-profit. It's not a company. They're not making money out of this. Every dime that they get is to further the cause. They're not a political party. They're not partisan, right? How long will it take for Alberta to become independent? That's an interesting one. There you go. Fall to summer. That's probably when we get the actual referendum and so on. So yeah, there's so many things about what about us being landlocked and so on, the role the USA, the United States, plays into this whole thing. Will Alberta have its own passports? Yes, an independent country of Alberta will have its own passports, and they give you information based on, you got to remember, there are multiple constitutional lawyers working with the Alberta Prosperity Project. I have two that come right to mind. Jeffrey Rath is a constitutional lawyer in Alberta, and Keith Wilson, also a notable constitutional lawyer in Alberta and in Canada. So these answers are all based on people who have the knowledge. So again, this is what is happening in Alberta. Let me take a couple of questions here so far. We may have so far here. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. I appreciate you. Shout out to Sean P73. Shout out to you, Sean. I think that's Sean Patterson. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Lori and Sean Patterson. They've been supporting the channel for a long time, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Okay, here's a question from Sloopin 11235, super chat, $10. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Hey, PG, love your channel. What I think is really missing is a well-edited 5-minute video of the merits of separation people can share around. Could you do this? Maybe. I can certainly do that. I can put it together. I've been doing some shorts. I don't know if you've watched them. I've been putting together some shorts that are like literally 30 to 60 seconds long, explaining the reasons why Alberta should become independent, including the fact that Alberta has been taken advantage of for decades and decades, especially since the 80s with Trudeau Sr. and all, and talking about the realities of equalization payments, how Alberta gets like $15 to $20 billion taken from it and sent to other provinces that don't appreciate us at all. And I talk about those things in bite-sized little clips, but I can certainly put it all together or come up with something new. You know which page does it really well too? They've been doing videos like that too. Rise of Alberta on Twitter. I don't think they have a YouTube channel. If they do, I'm not certain, but they're on Twitter, and they do shorts, 30 to 60-second shorts. I think they did a 2-minute video explaining the benefits of an independent Alberta. So seek them out on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, they might be on Facebook as well. And you know who does that too? Videos that explain everything, the Alberta Prosperity Project. Go to their Facebook page. On there, they share 2 to 3 minute bite-sized videos explaining the benefits of an independent Alberta. But I will certainly also contribute as much as I can, whatever I can. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Pammy IRL in real life with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Freedom and prosperity for Alberta. Thank you, Pammy. I appreciate it. Thank you. So that's what's happening on the Alberta side of things. This is what we're looking at. We have advancements. Things are advancing. Things are moving forward. Albertans that support independence are excited. I know I am. Follow channels, by the way, on YouTube that support Alberta independence to stay informed. Follow Unacceptable Fringe. You can check out, I believe, Corey Morgan as well. The Levine Show. Follow him as well. The Levine Show. It's just like that. Jason, I believe it's either Jason Levine or The Levine Show. I had him last Sunday, was it? I had him online here. And yeah, you can follow them and they'll keep you informed as well. But other things have been happening around the world today that got me happy and got me excited about the future and what 2026 will look like. And here's a beautiful picture to start your 2026. Freedom. Big fish was caught today. The Trump administration got him. They got Maduro. They got him. And not long ago, they told him, hey, if you want to go to Russia, if you want to go to China, you better get going because, you know, you're going to have hell to pay if we catch you. And he was, you know, defiant. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. And they got him. There he is. There he is, officially on board the USS Iwo Jima. They got him. The United States did this surgical operation. You got to call it surgical. Nobody got hurt. Nobody died. I mean, nobody died. I think some people did get injured, but no one died. No equipment was like destroyed beyond operation. All helicopters and aircrafts that were used, according to reports, all flew in and flew out. One of them sustained damage, but nothing that wouldn't make it airworthy. And yeah, they got him. So the world is a freer place today because they got rid of this dictator POS, and he's headed to the United States. I think he's already there, and he's going to be tried for his crimes. And I really hope that they lock him up and throw away the key, because this guy's made a lot of people suffer. The Venezuelan people have suffered for many years thanks to this guy. And, you know, Hugo Chavez before him, but that guy is burning in hell right now. This guy has made life impossible for the Venezuelan people, and then by extension for Americans and even Canadians, because his government, his corrupt dictatorship, has been enabling the cartels, Cartel de los Soles, and so on and so forth. You know, the whole drug trade, right? And yeah, they got him. So that's great to see. We're witnessing a historic day. The United States got him, and nobody knew. You got Congress, members of Congress saying like, "Oh, you should have let us know. You can't just do this and do that. You should have let us know." If they released this to the Democrats, they would have never got him, because they leak things, they leak information, which is what Trump was saying. So Maduro would have known, like, oh, so this is what they're doing, because someone from Congress would have probably told him indirectly. They would have leaked it to someone, and that someone would have leaked it to someone else, and it would have made its way to Maduro. Trump acted decisively and got her done. And here in Canada, reaction has been mixed. Mostly what you can expect from a country that is aligning itself more with China. But the leader of the opposition, the so-called conservative, and I say so-called because he has his moments where he's not really acting conservative. That's why Alberta, in my opinion, needs to leave this country. There's no real conservatism here. But he's, for all intents and purposes, he's officially the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada and leader of the opposition. And he congratulated President Trump. And tweet goes, on successfully arresting narco-terrorist and socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro, who should live out his days in prison. The legitimate winner of the most recent Venezuelan elections, Edmundo Gonzalez, should take office along with the courageous hero and voice of the Venezuelan people, Maria Corina Machado. Down with socialism, long live freedom. And he put that tweet out, and the left, their heads are exploding. They are literally bending over backwards to defend a dictator, a murderer. Do you know the amount of people that have disappeared in Venezuela? Student protesters, opponents. There was an election, I believe, in 2018 that he stole. There was the recent election in 24 that he also stole, and so many people were killed and, you know, disappeared by this terrible, terrible dictator. And you have the left, both in the United States and in Canada, the Democrats, defending. This is how Trump goes checkmate on these people. You have people bending over backwards to defend a dictator. You can't make this stuff up. They are defending a dictator. But this is how people in the middle, fence sitters, realize what's happening in this world. There are two sides in the world. There's no more lukewarm, moderates, in between. There's two sides. There's the left, who believes in killing their opponents. See Charlie Kirk. Censoring their opponents. See what's happening in the UK, where they're arresting people over tweets. I'm going to repeat that. They're arresting people over tweets. See what's happening in Canada with censorship and what happened to the truckers. Bank accounts frozen. People arrested. The leadership the leadership of the trucker convoy, Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, paying for it to this day, all for a civil rights movement, all for protesting, no violence, nobody hurt anybody. And the Trudeau government and now the Liberals under Mark Carney making an example out of them, so that Canadians never again dare to stand up to government. That's why they're doing what they're doing. So you have that side. You have the leftist, woke, socialist, sympathetic with dictators, the left. That's the Democrats, the liberals. That's the left. And then you have the common sense side. You have the truth, and you have free enterprise. You have conservatism. You have Christianity. You have letting kids be kids and not trying to change their gender. You have no man in women's sports. You have free speech. You have the ability to speak your mind, the ability to worship who you worship without fearing government attacking you. So that's the two sides. There's no in between. There's no, oh, but moderates and this and that. There's no such thing, at least not in Canada. And I don't believe, I've been keeping, my finger on the pulse of the United States, and I don't think there's moderates there either. There's the left, the crazy leftists, and then there's the right. That's what's available at this time. So reaction to this tweet right here, I want you guys to see. I've been tweeting about it all day because it's unbelievable. So you have this clown here. She's a mouthpiece for the liberals in Canada. And she goes, America, can you please get your lawless war president under control? Signed, Canada. And she signs it arrogantly like she speaks for Canada. But you know what? She's not too far off. That's what Canada has become. That's the majority of people. That is how they won the election. If she was not the majority, we would have a conservative prime minister after 10 terrible years of Trudeau governing our country. So she's not too far off when she says that signed by Canada. That is probably how the majority of at least Eastern Canada views this. They have such a strong case of Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even think. Trump cures cancer today, and Eastern Canada will be complaining about the right to have cancer. You took my right to have cancer away from me. So this clowns, and I responded to each and every one the exact same way. Watching the Canadian left bend over backwards to defend a foreign dictator and narco-terrorist is hilarious. It's such irony to see. Here's another guy. Literally, this is one of those so-called journalists that are paid with mine and your tax dollars. If you're a Canadian taxpayer, Canada, the government of Canada, run by the Liberals, pays millions and millions of dollars every year to the CBC and other so-called journalists to basically peddle pro-liberal misinformation into propagandize Canadians into believing everything the liberals say. And this guy is one of those mouthpieces. Andrew Coyne, he says, there it is, explicitly aligning Conservative Party with Trumpian lawlessness. And he's responding to that tweet from the Conservative. So apparently, supporting the fact that a dictator, a murderous dictator, was arrested by the United States is now makes you a Trumpian, supporter of Trumpian lawlessness. And all day, these people have been going crazy. Same with the Democrats south of the border. This guy is the leader of the NDP, which is the party that is even farther to the left than the Liberals. And he goes, UN Charter Article 2.4 is a core principle of international law. It prohibits all states from the threat, use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any other state, banning war and coercion, except self-defense or UN Security Council authorization. What these people don't understand is that they're defending a dictator who has murdered Americans, his own people, people from all over the world, including in Canada, and they're defending him. There is no justification to be defending that guy. None. He's a dictator. There's no rules in engaging a dictator, in my opinion. There are no rules of engagement when it comes to a dictator. You try to get rid of them. That's what you do. Because all they do is harm. That's all they do. All they know how to do is harm. Make the world a worse place. That's all they do. And these people are literally defending them. That's what they do. Here's another one right here. Canadian Politico. Yes, Maduro is a dictator. That does not give the U.S. legal authority to bomb their country and kidnap him and his wife. This is an absurd statement. So, arresting a dictator who's also a criminal, who's being wanted by the FBI for a very long time. Pretty sure his bounty was like $50 million or something like that. So arresting him is now kidnapping him. You see how the left operates? Arresting somebody is now kidnapping. When ICE is out there arresting illegals, people who have broken the law by entering the country illegally, they're kidnapping people, apparently. That is how the left operates. Left is right, right is left, right is wrong, wrong is right. It's all moral relativism. They don't know what they don't believe in this is right and this is wrong. The guy's a dictator and a criminal. He wasn't kidnapped, he was arrested. And rightfully so, and I'm glad. I hope they put him in a cell and throw away the key. And here's our Prime Minister, Liberal Mark Carney. We basically got what I expected from him. He's trying to tread lightly, but not really. He didn't outright condemn like the other leftist politicians in Canada, but he basically didn't support President Trump. Any leader with any common sense, like the guy in Argentina, Javier Milei, the guy in El Salvador, Viktor Orban out in Hungary, all of them are like, President Trump, well done. Congratulations on making the world a safer place by arresting Maduro. But of course, Mark Carney is more aligned with China. China is condemning the United States. Russia is condemning the United States over arresting Maduro. And of course, Canada is kind of condemning it because he knows that we need the United States for trade and we're already screwed because we got all kinds of tariffs imposed on us and our economy is suffering for it. But he couldn't bring himself to do the right thing and say, you know what? I support what President Trump did in arresting the dictator. But here's his tweet. Tweet goes, so long, I almost don't even want to read it. One of the first actions taken by Canada's new government in March 2025 was to impose additional sanctions on Nicolás Maduro's brutally oppressive and criminal regime. So he's starting the tweet by, you know, making an excuse of still like, oh, we don't really support him and we've more than shown it. Tweet continues, unequivocally condemning his grave breaches of international peace and security, gross and systematic human rights violations, and corruption. Canada has not recognized the illegitimate regime of Maduro since it stole the 2018 election. The Canadian government therefore welcomes the opportunity for freedom, democracy, peace, and prosperity for the Venezuelan people. This is all empty word salad. What is Canada doing to free the Venezuelan people? What has Canada done to free the Venezuelan people? There isn't a single soldier that participated in the takedown of the guy who's been making Venezuelans suffer for nearly a decade. There was no cooperation, no help. And the United States wouldn't even ask anymore because, unfortunately, Canada is not the Canada from 10 years ago where the United States will look to Canadians and the Canadian Armed Forces as part of this coalition. We have fallen from that thanks to 10 years of China-aligned, communist-aligned liberal governance. The United States can't even trust Canadians with intel anymore. They're already having some sort of conversation about the Five Eyes Alliance and how Canada may be compromised because of the connection China has to the Canadian Liberal government. And I've made multiple reports on that. So what did Canada do to advance what just happened today, the liberation of the Venezuelan people, the stopping of the suffering in that country? I don't know if you guys know, probably many of you do who have lived longer than me, but Venezuela was one of the richest Latin American countries in the world, probably the richest and wealthiest Latin American country in the world. They're sitting on the most bountiful, the most abundant oil reserves in the world. Heavy oil, the best kind. and they're sitting on the biggest reserves in the world. OPEC doesn't even come close. It was a very wealthy, overall peaceful country. And then socialism kicked in. Communism took a hold of it with Hugo Chavez and then Maduro. And people are now starving in that country, literally starving. Like 20% of the Venezuelan population has left that country to multiple countries. They're going to Colombia, the United States, when Biden opened the border, to other countries in the region. People are suffering. What did Canada do other than, sanctions? Okay, that's what everybody's doing. If you don't do it, then there's a problem. That's the minimum you can do, is sanction a dictator. There's not a whole lot of trade between Canada and Venezuela anyway. So again, they did the bare minimum, but he doesn't want to just flat out come out and condemn and attack Trump, because every time Canadian politicians do that, and they'll keep doing it, but every time they do it, our economy suffers even more. And this guy might be calling an election soon, right? He might be calling an early election here in Canada, so he wants to keep the fight with the United States there, but he doesn't want to destroy the economy completely, because then Canadians will be like, whoa, what the hell did we do by voting this guy in? Anyway, the tweet continues. Canada has long supported a peaceful, negotiated, and Venezuelan-led transition process that respects the democratic will of the Venezuelan people. Okay? Everybody in their right mind supports it. What have you done to actually advance it? In keeping with our long-standing commitment to upholding the rule of law, sovereignty, and human rights, sure. The government of Canada sure supports human rights. That's why they did what they did to the truckers. And that's why what's happening here with the MAID program, doctors offering people euthanasia, is such a scandal, because Canada is such a great human rights example. Anyway, I digress. We stand by the Venezuelan people's sovereign right to decide and build their own future in a peaceful and democratic society. All sounds good, I guess. Canada attaches great importance to resolution of crisis through multilateral engagement and is in close contact with international partners about ongoing developments. That basically means they're contacting Europe, because this guy, Mark Carney, has been trying to get Canada to join the European Union. He's been making moves and trying to get Canada closer and closer to Europe, and undermining the United States, being hostile towards the U.S., while, again, getting closer to the EU and to China, talking probably to China and to the EU as we speak, not to the United States. We are first and foremost ready to assist Canadians through our consular officials and our embassy in Bogota, Colombia, and will continue to support Venezuelan refugees. Yeah, that's a big old nothing burger. He stopped short of condemning Trump, because he knows what that'll look like if he condemns Trump. Not only will our economy continue to suffer as a result, because Trump might just impose 50% tariffs on Canada overnight over that, but also he knows the kind of company he would have. He would be literally with Xi Jinping. He would be with Vladimir Putin, and he'll be with other dictators, probably with Kim Jong-un as well on the list of people. Iran, the Ayatollah in Iran, and those kinds of dictators and authoritarian tyrants. That's the kind of company he would be under. And he's trying to keep the facade that Canada is still a democracy and not a little extension of the Chinese Communist Party, basically. So that was a long rant, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. I wanted to talk about this. I had to. I was like, whoa, that is something that definitely I got to talk about. Thank you to Sharon Stone for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And yeah, even though there's some great news happening here in Alberta that I am super happy about, there's also some great news in the world with the taking down of Nicolas Maduro. So that is awesome to hear. Okay, we got about 10 minutes here. I will take some questions. So if you guys have any questions in regards to Alberta independence, you have a comment regarding anything, feel free to let me know. Put it in the comments. Put multiple question marks because that helps me see the question. And I'll love to take some questions. By the way, again, I left you guys, I know I've said it multiple times, but I'll say it again in case somebody didn't hear it. I left the link for volunteering to become a signature collector, a canvasser. It's right in the description. You can click in the description and you go to the bottom of it and you'll see the link. You click on it and you can fill out your information. Okay, I see a question right there from Greg Wilson. Bring it on here. 1 second, Greg. What's going on with the disability once we leave? You see, that is one of those questions that comes up quite often, and I appreciate you asking it. It's one of those that comes up quite often. What's going to happen to my entitlements, to my benefits, my pension, my disability, among other things, once Alberta becomes an independent country? And I think that might be here. I think the APP might have already answered that one. Let me see if I can find it with you guys here so that you guys can see that there are certain things that they've already answered. And again, these questions are answered with people who have knowledge, constitutional lawyers, economists, and so on. So let me see. APP, okay, become independent. What happens if negotiations break down? Will Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and BC join Alberta? What about landlocking? Passports, republic, constitutional monarchy, support any political parties, try and stop Alberta. Alberta Constitution drafted. What will happen to my current mortgage? Okay, so this is kind of in that vein. Like, what happens to my entitlements, benefits? So this is a mortgage loan, jobs, and other things. Let's just read this. This might shed some light into what you're saying, but I'll tell you this right now. Constitutional lawyers like Keith Wilson have said that there's a difference between a benefit and an entitlement. Benefits are a trickier thing because Alberta will have to come up with its own, and an independent Alberta will be able to bankroll all those things because the amount of money that Canada takes from Alberta, we would be able to keep. So we would be able to cover all the programs that are existing at this time, including healthcare and other benefits, and possibly have even better because our fiscal surplus would be huge compared to what we have right now. And for more information on that, you can check The Value of Freedom. It's literally a draft budget of what an independent Alberta would look like. They put together multiple economists and people from the Alberta Prosperity Project, and they explained, based on 2024 numbers from the government of Alberta, what an independent Alberta would look like programs-wise and so on. So here talking about mortgages, HELOCs, loans, and lines of credit and private contracts, just to start payments, are not erased once you move to a different country. Mortgages are not voided by independence. New states almost always adopt a continuity of laws act on day one of their existence. This means all existing laws and private rights, including mortgages and HELOCs, remain in force. So I don't know if that sheds some light. What will happen to my lending institution? Most banks that Alberta use, RBC, CIBC, Scotiabank, TD, BMO, are federally regulated institutions. Post-independence, these banks will likely seek authorization to operate in Alberta, and the mortgage lien on your title will remain valid. If you're already banking with an Alberta credit union, the transfer is even smoother. What will happen to my deposits? Right now, deposits in federally regulated banks are insured by CDIC, up to $100,000 per depositor per category. Post-independence, Alberta would create its own ADIC to continue insuring Albertans' deposit during transition. Your money will stay safe and secure. It talks about jobs, public sector jobs, so on and so forth. So again, visit frequently asked questions. And if you have a question, there's a contact us section there where you can contact the Alberta Prosperity Project, and they would be more equipped to answer your questions in regards to independence than I would be. You can write them an email. Their email is there too. Okay, let's take another question here. Okay, this is an important question here from Ryan Prin. Thanks, Ryan. PJ, how will the referendum vote be managed? Truthfully and honestly, to make sure everyone votes counts and there is no fraud. Well, and that is why we need as many volunteers and observers as possible. I don't trust the federal government. I don't trust the liberals as far as I can throw them. I don't trust them to be truthful. I don't trust them to negotiate in good faith. I don't trust them to play fair or play by the rules. That's why we need to make it too big to rig. That'll be our insurance. Too big to rig. If we only go and now we got to get 177,000, let's try to get 178. No. The APP is shooting for over 500,000, and we should easily get more than that because they already have over 250,000 pledges. We need volunteers. Don't take this for granted, guys. If you believe in Alberta, if you love your province and soon your new country, your new Republic of Alberta, get involved. Get involved. I know we all have jobs. I have a 9 to 5 still. Let's get involved. Let's do everything we can. I will do everything I can when I have the time, when I've already paid the bills for my wife and kids, and whenever I have free time. We all have free time. Let's do this. This is history in the making. Get involved. If you can volunteer, do it. If you can't volunteer, if you cannot volunteer, then attend an info session so that you're more equipped when you have a conversation with a colleague or a friend or a family member, you know? But if you can volunteer, do it. If you can donate $5, do it. You know, it's a coffee. Hopefully not from Tim Hortons. Hopefully you guys are not going to Tim Hortons. Freaking mess. Go to a different coffee shop. Go to a place where they hire Canadians. All right. Go to a place where they hire some young Canadians. Go there and support that place. But I digress. Try to get involved as much as possible. That is how we ensure that this isn't that we're not screwed by Ottawa. I'm going to put it in uncertain terms here. Oh, and the APP is going to do all kinds of things. Trust me, they're going to be on it. They're going to be on it. They're going to be paying attention. The CEO of the Alberta Prosperity Project, Mitch Sylvester, is very, very involved in he's not a politician, but he's involved in politics. He is, I think, part of the like the leadership of the UCP when it comes to like grassroots and stuff like that. So again, these are people who are putting all their effort and time into this, and they're not gonna just let the government of Canada screw us. They're not gonna let it happen. But you better believe, like this guy here says, that Leroy 08, that they are gonna try. They're gonna try. You can count on that. So since we can count on that, let's make it too big to rig. Let's see this from James B. Tommy the Commie is trying to get his referendum ahead of the APP. His referendum is a policy change, my friend. It would never, they're not the same level of importance. His is a policy change that the government of Alberta make it its policy that they support staying in Canada. The APP's question is constitutional. It's a change to the Constitution, meaning it's a real referendum. Tommy's is a nothing burger. Doesn't mean anything. It won't do anything. It's all symbolic. This guy was just trying to get signatures and trying to get the elderly folks in retirement homes to give him their information so that he can run his own party later on. He was just data mining, man. And then scaring people. Oh, the United States is going to annex us. The United States can annex us right now. What's stopping them? Think about it. What's stopping B-2 bombers from flying above Canada right now? What's stopping them? Are they afraid of the Canadian Army? No. Seriously, let's think about this for a second. What's stopping the United States from invading Canada if they truly wanted to do that? Nobody. Nothing. The Canadian Army, as much as there are many brave warriors in there, is not even close to equipped to withstand the might and the power of the most powerful country on earth. 1 or 2 B-2 bombers, stealth. Like, nobody even has those. Like, those things are like alien craft. I'm not an American. I'm an Albertan. But you got to be realistic. And that is what he was telling the elderly folks, because they don't know better, right? A lot of those older people that are like 90, 100 years old and they're in retirement homes, all they know is like, I don't want to be an American because I'll lose my pension. And these people worked with misinformation and fear. The Alberta Prosperity Project is working with hope. Alberta independence is hope. Hope and courage. That's what that is, versus fear and insults. They're going to insult you. They're going to, all kinds of stuff. All right, I'll take two more questions. Sorry if I've ranted on some of the questions, guys, but I like to express my thoughts as much as possible. There's a question from William Rubel. Some people are claiming that Trump freeing Venezuela from the tyranny of socialism is going to hurt Alberta financially due to Venezuelan oil competing with Alberta oil. Should Albertans worry? Well, I think it's simple economics that if there's more oil in the market, the price of oil is going to go down. That's got positives and negatives. Positives, well, energy is going to be cheaper. When you go to the pump, it'll be cheaper. Food, as a result of transportation costs going down, will be cheaper. But that's also rough for Alberta because Alberta, its main industry is obviously oil and gas. But look, any day OPEC can decide to pump out more gas, which is what they did, which is why prices went down. I would rather the United States controls the oil in the world than OPEC. I still am one of those Albertans and Canadians who believes that the United States is actually a friend, as opposed to the whole elbows up mentality, which is that the United States is not our friend. Will that affect Alberta? Yeah, but an independent Alberta can trade with other countries. There is more demand for oil in the world than there is oil to supply. Also, Alberta has different levels of industries, like different levels of developing its oil and shipping it out. Like Venezuela, the U.S. is going to have to invest a lot to make it world class because the President Trump said it himself, the infrastructure is a disaster. Alberta has world class infrastructure, the best oil infrastructure in the world. It's ethical, it's respected. So I don't think it presents a threat. I think it presents an opportunity, more competition. And in an independent Alberta, we can access markets because we would have the ability to say to BC, that is blocking our pipelines, by the way, we would have the ability to say to them, you know what? You won't let our oil through. Your shipments that are going to the east can't go through Alberta, So I'm not worried. I'm an optimist. I don't think the U.S. is looking to undermine Alberta. Quite the opposite. The U.S. is one of our biggest allies, if not the biggest ally. Okay, let's see if we got another question. Am I going to be a canvasser? I would love to be, but I work transportation. I'm on the road all the time, and there's no schedule. That's why these live streams that I do are kind of sporadic and impromptu. Like I don't have a schedule like other live streamers or YouTubers. It's exactly because of that, because I'm on the road all the time. Sometimes I literally make videos while walking. Like I take a break on the vehicle and come out and record a little clip, and I would love to. Maybe one day I will join canvassers, join signature collectors, and document the process. I love to do that. That's for sure. Shine a light on it. Let's see if we got two more questions here. Some people mentioned that what happened in Quebec is a perfect example. They somehow, like in what world does it come out to 50.5 to 49.5? A lot of people from Quebec say that the federal government did all kinds of shady things to make sure that Quebec did not win that referendum. They did all kinds of shenanigans out there. So I expect them to do it even more for Alberta, because Alberta is is even more important to Canada. If Quebec leaves, Canada would actually be better off economically, because Quebec is such a financial drain on Canada the way that it operates currently. Alberta isn't. Alberta is the biggest net contributor per capita. Got to make it too big to rig. Das Carmen. Yeah, man, that's Thanks for being on the channel, man. I see you all the time. Thank you. Appreciate you. That is right there. The reality. We got to make it too big to rig. We got to make it. We got to collect a lot more signatures, twice, 3 times as much. And yes, this is true. This is very true right here. It's become a communist country, especially Eastern Canada. Like Tim's hard no. I don't ever go there. I don't remember the last time I went to Tim's for anything. Let's see here. From Fabian Warnke. Hey, PJ, let's go, Alberta. Unfortunately, my wife and I'll have to sign the petition when we get back from holidays at the end of January. Hey, man, as long as you sign before May the 2nd, that's all that we need, man. That is all that we need. All right, let's see. And that is very true right there. Alberta doesn't need Canada's permission to leave. We don't. We're not asking. We're going to get it done. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to you, my man. Thank you so much for supporting. That's a mighty legendary beard you got there, man. That thing is probably take 10 years to grow something like that. Ireland for the Irish. That's right. In England for the English. Yeah, man. In Alberta for Albertans. Yes, sir. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you very much for being here with me. If you haven't, on your way out, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button on your way out. If you think there are some people who may need this information, you know, to know, like those that ask, hey, how do I sign? When do I sign? Where can I get answers to these questions? Which dates? Where can I attend an APP event? Which dates are they going to be out in my neighborhood? You know what to do. Share this video. Share it with them. I try to shed some light in those questions today. And yeah, go to the AlbertaProsperityProject.com. There's lots of answers in there. And the link is in the description for those of you who want to volunteer to be a signature collector. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you all for being with me. See you in the next one. Peace.